my lovely creatives, I'm back. I've been away for the last 10 days and I'll tell you all about what I've been up to shortly in this video. And whilst I do so, I am going to show you the process video of how I made this drawing of a monkey. I made it in watercolor pencils and pastels. And I really look forward to catching up with you and telling you all about all my plans and things for the end of this year. So make sure you settle in, get comfortable, because this is quite a long video. So let's get started. Let's first talk about my inspiration for today's artwork. And most of you know that I absolutely love animals and I love the natural world. And I'm just in awe of creatures, big and small, of all different kinds. And apes and monkeys are just so fascinating. I think the way that they look like us and the way that they behave can really be a mirror to our own behavior. And I really think they're so beautiful and wonderful and funny as well. So it's been a little while since I drew an ape, and I really wanted to do so. So I found this photo and it is the example for today's picture. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Thank you so much for being with me here today. My name is Irene and I'm an artist and illustrator, and I teach lots of art classes in color pencil, watercolor, markers. My next class is going to be a Fill Your First Sketchbook course, where we fill our sketchbooks in 30 days. On this channel I share art tips and tricks, I share some of my creative journey and lots of insights in what it is like to run a creative business and to be an illustrator and making a living as an illustrator as well. So make sure you subscribe and let me know what you think. I'd love to meet you, so leave a little comment and say hi, and I'll see you around soon. I wanted to make a drawing of an ape, and as you can see here, I just made the monkey first and then I added the background later, and I'm not quite sure if I like it better with or without a background. So let me know what you think in the comments. Sometimes you just have to take a bit of a risk when you add things, don't you? I wanted to draw a bit larger again as well. So you can see I picked my A3 watercolor paper. This is Bockingford 300 GSM cold pressed watercolor paper. I use it a lot. It's a good mix between affordable and good quality, and I love drawing on it, and it works really well with watercolor pencils. So what is it that I've been up to lately? Well, it's quite a big question. I have been creating lots of art courses. I already gave you a little bit of a sneak peek of that in the introduction of this class, of this video today. And for the last 10 days I went to a silent meditation retreat where I sat still and meditated for 14 hours a day. Yes, you hear that right. I sat still, did not move, did not talk, and meditated for 14 hours a day. And it really helped me gain a new perspective on what my priorities are, what I want to do with my life and with my art business, and what I want to focus on in the future. And I don't think that everyone needs to do such an intense course to come to conclusions of what they want to do in their lives. But taking some time to reflect and to also focus on your body and see how you actually feel about certain decisions. So not rational, but just really feeling how your body reacts to certain decisions really helps to gain a new perspective. Let me talk you through this drawing's process a little bit more. I started straight with color. I was looking at a reference picture. The picture was much more brown and natural colors than the colors that I've used in my illustration today, and I'm setting up my drawing straight with my watercolor pencil onto the paper, and I'm using blue. I think when you draw a dark animal, like this ape was very black and dark brown, I think blue is a really great color to set up your drawing. The color blue is a sort of natural occurring color in most dark hairs, and it works as a great shadow color, and you can blend it in with your final dark colors really well. So that's what I'm doing, setting up this drawing, just focusing on the big shapes first and slowly adding some more details. The hands and the feet of this ape were quite tricky for me because I draw quite a lot of human hands and human feet, and they are quite different from this ape's. So I had to let go of my sort of imagination or my vision of what I think a hand looks like, and really draw what I was seeing instead of what I thought, what I imagined in my mind. I, in hindsight, wish I had positioned the ape a little bit more in the middle of the paper, but I can always cut the edges to make this a square piece, because I think it looks a little bit better in a square anyway. Even with the background in it, I can cut off those edges on the side, so I might still do that. So the ape has quite large hands, and they are very detailed. So I wanted to make sure that the proportions were right and that I had all the little wrinkles and that they bend in the right places as well, so the knuckles are in the right place. And I spent quite a lot of time focusing in on that. The next part I'll speed up a little bit and you can see the magic happen. Adding water to this underlayer is so much fun, and you have to be careful to do one color at a time. So I would usually recommend starting with the lightest color, but today I started with the blue and I'm avoiding the yellow and lighter areas for now. So I start with the blue, adding water to my watercolor pencil, and you can see how magically this turns into paint. It does create a nice even, more saturated layer of colors compared to what I had just with the pencil, and it gives a really nice layer to paint or to draw more on with my color pencils. So this is a lot of fun. It does make it a little bit less precise, so all the little lines that you added before fade out and this becomes a soft layer. Before you carry on with your color pencil, make sure everything is dry. So I grabbed my Faber-Castell Polychromos after this, and I'm going to start adding details using my color pencils. These are not watercolor pencils, these are normal drawing color pencils, but they work really well over the top of this watercolor pencil layer, which I can't stress enough, needs to be completely dry. If your paper is still wet, the paper is much more fragile. Wet paper is very fragile, you can damage it really easily. Let me tell you a little bit more about why I did this meditation course and what I hoped to get out of it, and why I do things such as that. I have done this meditation course before, about 10 years ago, and my experience was very different this time, which is not so surprising because I'm a different person now. I've learned a lot, I've traveled a lot, and I've had lots of experiences in that time. I've moved to England, I've been here for a little more than 10 years now, and so I'm a different person than I was 10 years ago when I just finished my university. And I was really looking forward to a period of just focusing on myself with absolutely no distractions, and a period of reflection, no phone, no television, no books, absolutely no distractions, just time to focus on myself and on being in the world as just from day to day. And that's not the main sort of goal of this meditation course, which is all about Buddhism and about purification of the mind and controlling the mind, like learning control over your own thoughts, which is also very important. But I think the side effect of just being without any distractions for 10 days is just something that I was really craving and that I really wanted to experience again. The world that we live in nowadays is so full of constant distractions, constant interactions, media, social media, your phone, WhatsApp, people constantly asking you things and constant input, and I very rarely spend time without any input or sensation sort of from outside of myself. For example, when I cook dinner, I like to listen to a podcast at the same time. Or when I go for a run, I listen to music. Or there's always things that come in that is sort of an endless stream of either information or music or sensations. And I think it's very healthy to once in a while take some time to be without all these distractions in your life. And that's what I really wanted to do. I hope that doesn't sound too vague to you. I think especially for someone who makes a living for a big part using social media, taking a break from social media felt a bit scary, but also a really healthy thing to do. And what I discovered is that I have not missed that much in these 10 days. I was a little bit worried of leaving my business alone, and leaving Makings and Musings for that time. But yeah, it turns out I have not missed that much. I have automated all my emails. So when people had a question, that all sort of worked quite well. They were redirected to the right place. All my courses are sort of self-running for most part. The live sessions that I scheduled were all for after when I was back. And it actually worked really well. So that was really nice to know, that the world doesn't end if you're not on your phone for a couple of days. Yeah, I was a little bit worried about all the different algorithms, punishing me for being away that long. But I don't think you should stay at home and be on social media because you're worried about an algorithm. So even though I was a bit worried about it, I decided to go anyway and just not think about work for this time. And I managed to do that quite well. In the meantime, I have progressed quite a lot in my drawing. So you can see I've added lots of detail, and I'm slowly starting to increase the values and make the shadows darker and more intense. And although I'm not 100% happy with the proportions, I feel like I should have spent a little bit more time on my sketch. The colors I really like. I think the way of how this yellow and green is sort of peeping through the fur, and I love it. It's not in any way the natural colors of this animal, but I think it works really well. So I used light pink, yellow, a sort of really light lime green there as well, and lots of blues, and now I'm using black to add in these really dark shadows. And I say this quite often, but I'll say it again, that to make a realistic drawing, you don't necessarily need to use the correct colors that you see in the photo, but to have the values in the right place and to have the right values overall, so the dark's dark enough and the light's light enough. That's what makes the drawing look realistic. So don't be shy when you add your shadows into your drawing. If you see a really dark value in the photo, see if you can create a dark value in your drawing as well. And it doesn't have to be black, that value can be a different color. I'm using black today with this blue, but I could have used a dark blue for that. So for the background, I have made this a little bit faster, and I am using my pastel crayons. These are Rembrandt. They're quite old, I've had them for a long time. And pastels are a really great way of adding a soft sort of out of focus background. And this is something that I've started to do only recently. I really enjoy it. But I feel that in this case, in my drawing, I should have added in some in focus leaves from the start while I was drawing the monkey, and not as a sort of afterthought. But I think the combination of color pencil and pastels just works wonderful, and a lot of artists combine these two materials. So I'm adding in some yellow and some white as well. I'm layering my pastels quite dark. One day I'll buy some pen pastels, but I just find them really expensive at the moment. So if Pen Pastel wants to sponsor me and send me some, that'd be awesome. And otherwise I'll buy them at some point in the future, I guess. They are supposed to last much longer and be really great for backgrounds than these little pastel blocks that wear down quite fast. So I'm making sure I'm adding some lights and some darks just to make it look as if the light is shining through the foliage. And how when you look at leaves, there's often like little light shining through. This is a very loose and fun part of this drawing. When I was on this meditation retreat, I tried not to think about work and about art and about my business, but of course sometimes these thoughts pop up in your mind. If you ever have done some meditation, you know that we often describe it as a blue, like your mind being a blue sky and your thoughts being clouds. And sometimes there's lots of thoughts, so you have lots of clouds in the sky. Sometimes the clouds are really light and fluffy and happy, and sometimes they are big thunder clouds full of rain and storm. And even though you have lots of thoughts, you know that the blue sky is still behind it. Every thought sort of passes as well. So when you're meditating, sometimes thoughts come up and you acknowledge them and then let them go and think, okay, you can come back another time. So I had lots of ideas during this meditation process that I acknowledged and then said, thank you, thought or idea, you can come back another time. I really like the idea of training your mind to be more focused and more positive and not let myself lead by my thoughts or my emotions too much, but more by my actual feelings. So this is something that you learn as well, to feel what happens in your body when a certain emotion comes up or when a certain event happens, and see how your body physically reacts, for example, before you get angry or before you get upset, and realizing that these are all sort of physiological changes and that you can influence them as well. So when you realize you're becoming angry, you can step away from the situation or do something else or practice compassion or patience. So it's an ongoing process. I love to become better at it and learn, and this is something that takes practice, and I really enjoy it. So that's something that I spent 10 days doing, building up compassion, and I came back with a really clear mind, a really light feeling, and lots of inspiration to create and to draw. And this is actually a drawing I made before I went away, and now I'm editing it and filming it. But I will be creating lots of art over the next few months that I think will be inspired by this meditation course. Another thing that I'm going to do is take all my social media accounts off my phone, at least for a while, see how it goes. You can post to Instagram and to Facebook from your desktop, and this is something that I'm going to do. I'm going to use my desktop to interact with social media, and then my phone maybe to film and to, I use my phone a lot to film. But I don't want those constant interactions and temptation to open social media all the time to see if I missed anything and things like that. So that's going to be something that I'm going to do sort of after Christmas. I'm going to be away, see my family for a few weeks, and I will leave social media on my phone for then, and then when I come back, it's all going to go, and see how that feels. I realized that I am always very inclined to pick up my phone all the time to check social media, and that's a habit I want to break. As a finishing touch to this artwork, I am adding some leaves, and then I am done. Thank you so much for being with me here today. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about the meditation course or about this picture or about the technical drawing skills, let me know. I am running a color pencil course on my website, so if you want to check that out, I will explain all my techniques and tips in there. So make sure you check it out, and make sure you subscribe, of course. You always have to ask this at the end and at the beginning of every video I have learned. So please subscribe, and you will be notified of all my art videos and my behind the scenes and studio vlogs. I am planning to do some art challenges in the next few weeks, because I really enjoy those. If you draw along, make sure you share your creations with me. It gives me so much joy to see what everyone makes. And thank you so much for being with me here. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye!